So here's the deal. City governments are signing contracts with companies that own automated license plate reader systems. These companies include Flock, Axon, Vigilant Solutions, Genetec, PlateSmart, Innova Solutions, ReadCore, LSAC, Perceptix, and Genoptic, just to name a few. Unlike normal traffic cameras, this surveillance technology records and tracks every single car that comes into its view. And then an AI algorithm catalogs all of that information. It's then uploaded into a nationwide database that any law enforcement with a contract is able to search and access. Let's check out what people are saying and let me know what you think about this technology.
Have you heard about this mass surveillance program? That is a Flock safety camera. It's an artificial intelligence automatic license plate reader, and unlike others, Flock cameras are connected to a nationwide database. They run your plates against police hot lists and the FBI's criminal database. Cameras also record data like your car's make, color, or features like a missing hubcap. There's even AI-powered audio detection for things like gunshots or fireworks. So then Flock's database stores all the information gathered for up to 30 days. And this surveillance is constantly expanding. An estimated 40,000 Flock cameras read over 1 billion plates per month. They're in 5,000 communities across the US and are used by over 3,000 police departments. And it's not just police departments using these. Flock cameras are used by major companies, neighborhood HOAs, and affordable housing communities, which is well within their right, but then police have access to all the information gathered. Flock says the cameras only detect license plates and vehicles, not facial recognition or people, and they're prohibited for immigration and traffic enforcement. So what do you think?
People who oppose AI-powered mass surveillance are what the CEO of Flock, Garrett Langley, calls terrorists.
And then unfortunately there's terroristic organizations like DFlock, whose primary motivation is chaos.
Flock is a $7.5 billion mass surveillance company that spreads through securing local government contracts now in over 5,000 communities, and has more than 20 billion vehicle tracking plate scans every month. A lot of these contracts are secured without public input, and I get why people wouldn't want these cameras, but Garrett says opposition, organized opposition, is terrorism. That's why we have democracy instead.
That's why we have a democratically elected process, right? Like we're not forcing Flock on anyone.
That's interesting, Garrett, because towns that voted to end their partnership with Flock still have cameras running. Here's an example unfolding right now. After massive public opposition to surveillance, the Cleveland Public Safety Commission voted not to renew their contract with Flock. Yay, democratic elected processes. But wait, what's this? The cameras are still running? They're holding a re-vote?
I am frustrated that despite a 3-1 vote against renewing the city's Flock contract 2 weeks ago, Flock is for some reason getting a do-over.
Residents say that after the original vote to end the contract, the city council president, mayor, and police chief pushed for reversing course, resulting in a re-vote that now has advanced the contract despite public opposition. The next step is a full council vote on July 15th, less than a week after the revote. This leaves residents with very little time to fight back, and keeping the cameras on is one thing. Another is a community celebrating a win they fought for, only to be told it didn't hold weeks later.
I've never seen an instance where there was a revote on something that has already been heard. It felt like people were able to gather and make sure their voices were heard. And instead of listening to residents, they gave the agencies that stand to benefit from this another shot at convincing City Council.
So, people showed up to local government meetings, said they don't want a Flock contract. The local government voted not to renew the contract. Then that decision was reversed, and through all of it, the Flock cameras remained on anyway?
That's why we have a democratically elected process, right? Like we're not forcing Flock on anyone.
Any update on this, Garrett?
Dude, I don't understand why people are getting so upset about these Flock cameras. I mean, they're designed to do so much good. They're designed to keep us safe. They're designed to track down criminals, you know, all these good things. Why are people getting so upset? On July 23rd, 2025, the vice president of Flock and an employee both accessed gymnastics areas and a pool area for children multiple times and then said it was for sales pitches to potential customers. This is from thousands of miles away. They're able to just drop in on your kids, anyone that you know, could be you, and just watch you and do whatever they wanted to do, and you could be using you to be sold to somebody else so that they could put more Flock cameras around. Stay focused.
Every time you drive past one of these cameras, your license plate, your car's color, make, and model are being captured, stored in the cloud, and can be automatically shared with police departments across Arizona or even across the country.
Agencies also own 100% of their data, so they determine what they want to do with it, who they share it with, and when they share it.
I obtained public records from the Chandler Police Department showing audit logs for flock safety searches. Chandler Police searched their own city's data about 450 times in 1 month, but outside agencies searched the same data nearly 40,000 times.
Who is determining what entities can access this data and what guarantees will be placed to protect our neighbors?
The city of Chandler says it automatically blocks any requests from other agencies that list immigration as the reason.
We don't have sharing agreements with any federal entity. It is only through state and local people.
Here's where it gets complicated. Chandler shares its flock data with Mesa, and Mesa police say one of their officers assigned to a law enforcement fusion center has searched this data in response to requests from the Department of Homeland Security.
They don't need a direct contract with Flock in order to get this data if local law enforcement agencies are just searching and providing that to them.
In states where cooperation is legal, customers and their local values determine how they choose to use the technology.
And that's what critics are concerned about, the widespread use and sharing of this data without a widespread consensus on what's acceptable.
Flock is now hiding its cameras inside of digital speed limit signs because so many people across the country are destroying them. You've probably seen these little speed limit trackers driving down the road hundreds of times, but take a look at what's on the back of this one. It's a Flock camera that's strategically placed so you can't see it. People are now driving by these radar boxes completely unaware that on the other side of them is a high-powered AI camera that the government has access to. And Flock cameras don't just scan license plates, they also build what's called a vehicle fingerprint. They catalog full license plate numbers, vehicle make, model, year, exact color, as well as unique identifiers like bumper stickers, decals, roof racks, and body damage or scratches. That data is then automatically uploaded via LTE to a national searchable database accessible by law enforcement and federal agencies across the country without a warrant. One of the main reasons they're now hiding these cameras is because when people don't know they're being surveilled, it's hard for them to be angry and protest about being surveilled. This also might be illegal because none of the previous court rulings have accounted for the cameras being disguised as other infrastructure.
The federal government has access to more than 83,000 Flock cameras around the country through a searchable AI-powered database. According to an investigation, it's already used the system to surveil protesters, profile by race, target immigrants, and threaten reproductive rights. That's terrifying, but some cities are fighting back. Officials claim Flock's purpose is to scan license plates to help solve crime, but they actually do much more. The always listening cameras turn the footage into an AI-powered searchable database beyond just vehicle data, accessible without a warrant. And guess what? Most cities and police departments with Flock cameras join a nationwide network. EFF's 2025 investigation exposed how the government has access to at least 83,000 cameras, using them to search by race, track protesters, and locate those who get abortions. It's a system ripe for abuse without the guardrails to prevent it. It's why there are already dozens of cases of cops using it to stalk exes or partners, and it's why the cameras keep getting innocent people in trouble. Not to mention the security flaws, and they aren't small. Researcher Ben Jordan found at least 70 cameras accessible through a commercial search engine. No password required. The latest to reject the cameras is the city of Woodburn, Oregon, joining at least 73 others. Hopefully more will follow because we're living under tyranny and it's time to wake up.
Flock cameras are not just crime deterrents. They are watching you, they are logging you, even if you do not commit a crime. They have systems that log your license plate, your vehicle details, the time that you were there, the location. They can catalog your make, model, color, bumper stickers, roof racks, even visible damage to your vehicle down to scratches and dents. And then they store that data in searchable databases used by police and other three-letter agencies across the country. That is not just crime prevention. That is mass surveillance being marketed to us as safety. Well, don't do crime and you'll be okay. You are thinking way too small. You are quite literally still inside of the box. You trust the government with a permanent surveillance network? Freedom means being left alone by the state unless you have actually done something, not being tracked just in case. And something that absolutely baffles me is the fact that the CEO of Flock Safety has already compared people exposing the camera locations and criticizing these systems to terrorists and Antifa. That should alarm everyone. That is how civil liberties get eroded. First by labeling dissent as dangerous, then by expanding surveillance in the name of security, right? And before I show you what a flock looks like, let's talk about my own city. If these cameras are just harmless crime deterrents, why is Louisville, Kentucky fighting so hard to keep their location secret? Louisville has deployed over 200 plus city-owned flock cameras, and police also have access to hundreds more shared cameras from businesses, HOAs, universities, other entities across Jefferson County. Around 600 cameras total that the government can tap into. Metro officials and LMPD have refused to publicly disclose exact camera locations. Earlier this month, Louisville Metro Council voted down a proposal that would have required the city to publish these locations online. They love to say, if you're not doing anything wrong, then you shouldn't care. Okay, uno reverse. If you're not doing anything wrong, why do you care that we want to know where they are? Why are you hiding the cameras? I live in the West End, so I'm actually going to walk you to the flock closest to my neighborhood so that you can see what mass surveillance looks like right here at home. Okay, so this is a flock camera at the corner of Dixie Highway and Dumenil Street in Louisville. Most people drive past this and never think twice, and that's the point. Surveillance works best when it feels normal and when it feels invisible. We're told not to worry about facial recognition or expanded tracking, but we have no proof that they won't do that or that they haven't already. The issue isn't just what they claim that the cameras do today, it's what these systems can become once the infrastructure is already everywhere. Flock cameras reduce crime, police reduce crime. You know what else guarantees reduced crime? Paying people enough to survive instead of poverty wages. Housing and rent prices that don't keep people paycheck to paycheck. Healthcare that people can actually afford. Education that creates opportunity for young adults, treatment for addiction and mental health, the kind of stability that keeps people from desperation in the first place. They would rather monitor poverty than end it. Oh, well, there's no expectation of privacy in public. Being seen in public is not the same as having your movements logged, stored, analyzed, retraced, all to be sold to a private surveillance network. We recognize that persistent tracking can become harassment or stalking when individuals do it. So why is mass automated tracking suddenly acceptable when these corporations and the government does it? It's weird. If you want to see maps of known flock camera locations across the country, type in dflock.me.
A quiet Saturday afternoon last September, Denver resident Chrisanna Elser gets an alert from her doorbell camera. A nearby Columbine Valley police officer has come calling.
You know why I'm here?
No. He pulled out a picture of my truck and accused me of stealing a package.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Police-operated cameras had recorded her driving near the scene of the crime. Only problem, she had nothing to do with it.
They caught me 20 times driving through the neighborhood that we drive through to go to work every day.
Police had simply matched their video with doorbell footage of the theft, showing a blonde, like Elser.
Well, can I see this video?
If you go to court, you can. If you're going to deny it, I'm not going to extend you any courtesy. If you're going to lie to me, I'm not going to extend you any courtesy.
It was shocking to have somebody come in so strong and rely on the digital evidence.
Small black cameras mounted on utility poles began appearing around the neighborhood in 2024. But so what, says Elser?
I took the stance that everybody else takes, that, big deal, it's up there. If I'm not doing anything wrong, then why am I worried about it?
Turns out these cameras extend far beyond Denver. Today, more than 100,000 are installed across all 50 states, according to crowdsourced data from anti-surveillance organizations. The vast majority owned by security tech company Flock Safety.
Let's shape a safer future together.
We build hardware and software that help cities solve crime.
Flock's Josh Thomas says they make other devices to detect gunshots, for instance. But
our bread and butter product is a license plate reader. We are pinpoint focused on the back of a vehicle to identify the make, model, color, the license plate, the state of the license plate,
timestamps, locations. But Flock's AI-powered cameras also record bumper stickers, dents, to match against local and national law enforcement hot lists.
So when there's a wanted person, an outstanding warrant, a hit and run, a missing person, they will add those license plates to the list. So in real time, if one of those vehicles drives by a Flock Safety device, we'll send an alert to local law enforcement.
The data is also stored on a searchable cloud database for 30 days. And so misuse can happen. as with Krisanna Elser, among others documented in local reporting. But it's rare, says Thomas. What's far more common, he says, the technology helps solve crimes.
They're helping solve somewhere between 800,000 to 1 million crimes every calendar year. So roughly about 20 to 25% of all reported crime in America is being solved in some way or another with Flock technology.
You can always take the stories of the worst case scenario, but what's unfortunately and doesn't seem to get hit a lot are the stories of the best case scenario.
Todd Chamberlain, chief of police in Aurora, Colorado.
And there are some stories where lives have been changed through the use of this technology.
As in Denver last December.
A woman had put her child, a 14-month-old baby, into her vehicle. She had her car idling. Somebody came along, saw an opportunity to steal that car, and that mother was basically left watching her car drive away with her 14-month-old baby in it.
Flock tracked the car, reunited mother and child.
Thank you guys so much.
Without that Flock technology, we might not have found that for 2 or 3 days later. That technology saved that 14-month-old baby's life.
So, on balance, technology for the good? Well, Krisanna Elser, for one, might disagree. And Flock allows search data to be shared with police nationwide, potentially tracking Krisanna Elser's anywhere.
When you have a national database of these cameras that can be queried by law enforcement without a warrant, that qualitatively shifts something about the surveillance.
Joseph Cox is a journalist with 404 Media.
This isn't a small beat local police officer just looking into local crimes necessarily. You can have an officer on the other side of the country search for vehicles on the other side of the country as well.
On behalf of ICE, for example.
And that has clearly worried a lot of people who are now having a conversation about, do we actually want these cameras in our community?
A few weeks ago, using a commercial search engine, I very easily found the administration interfaces for dozens of Flock safety cameras.
And last December, YouTuber Ben Jordan gained access to over 60 Flock video feeds in cities across the country.
All this is relying on is knowing where exactly to look. And with that, we were able to see just how powerful some of these cameras are.
But Flock's Thomas says the leak was caused by cameras mistakenly configured to be public-facing, rather than private feeds.
We have hundreds of thousands of sensors out in the world. A very, very small number had a public-facing IP address. He did find those. And the second we found those, within 48 hours, all of those were changed.
Which is either reassuring or not.
There are YouTube videos that can teach you how to hack these cameras.
Meanwhile, opposition is growing.
If this camera sees you, you will be put on a database alongside every other law-abiding resident of this city.
We are asking for the Flock contract to be terminated in full.
In the past year, dozens of cities have canceled contracts following public backlash. And Flock now says it's willing to talk about how its tech should be regulated.
There's kind of no denying that it has clear benefits to cities. But the question, I think, is a very real one, which is, what's the trade-off we're making in society? Are we comfortable with that level of trade-off? And I think those are fair questions to ask.
Back in Denver, Krisanna Elser parried the charges against her with surveillance tech of her own.
I gave him a Google map of where I was. I gave him the video from my truck that showed where I drove. Gave him the video of the business I was at.
She spent real money on tech defense. Why?
If there's digital evidence out there that somebody has of you, you should have your own digital evidence.
You mean this is like spy versus spy, or?
It was all kind of like, what do I have in my arsenal to prove myself innocent?
Her own digital evidence ultimately cleared her, which is why she suggests that you, me, and everyone should have an arsenal of our own. But that's assuming, of course, that we can afford it. For the PBS NewsHour, Paul Salman.
In my opinion, this really comes down to one of those issues that does not have an easy answer. On one hand, there are people who really support these systems. They say they can help solve crimes, recover stolen items, and locate dangerous suspects faster than we've ever been able to before. And then on the other hand, you have critics who are arguing that building these massive databases to track ordinary people really drives serious privacy concerns, and it can even open the door to abuse if there are not strong enough safeguards and regulations in place. But I want to know, where do you draw the line? Should we even be using this technology at all? Should there be stricter laws around who can access this data and how long it can be stored? Or do the public safety benefits outweigh any privacy concerns? Drop me a comment below and let me know where you stand on the use of this technology.